Hello everyone and welcome back to the Goldmoney Asian Rapid Knockouts. We are still in the quarterfinals and we are at the game a lot of you have been requesting is the second game of the match, Erigaisi versus Levon Aronian, and the first game they played ended in a draw. This one, however, perhaps did not. We'll see what happens in the game, but it features well, a lot of really awesome moves, probably why you guys suggested it. So without further ado, let's check it out and see why so many of you suggested it. And if you're wondering what happened to the fourth game between Magnus and Wesley, well, the game ended in a draw and Magnus wins the first match. I said it very slowly, so if some of you didn't want to know the result, you could have just skipped. That's how we do things here. But now getting to this game, let's check out what happened. So Aronian opens with d4. We have knight to f6, we have c4, e6, knight to f3, and d5 now. So just a normal queen's gambit declined. Knight to c3 and bishop to b4, going for the Ragozin defense of the queen's gambit declined. e3, and we have castles by Levon. Bishop to d2, and now b6, preparing to fianchetto the light square bishop. We have bishop to d3, but not quite yet. After b6, Levon first captured once. We have e captures and bishop to d3. And now Levon has a couple of ways he can play this. He can just castle, he can even ignore castling. Sorry, not Levon, Aronian can just ignore castling. He can maybe play h4, h5, just, you know, keep attacking, but all depends on what Levon plays. So here, bishop to b7 by Levon, and castles by Aronian. We have bishop back to e7. The bishop is no longer needed on the queen side, and now knight to e5. A very nice square and outpost for this knight. We have c5 challenging the central pawn with this c pawn push, and now the position has been reached before, but the move that is played in the game has not been reached. So here, f4 is a known move, queen to f3 is a known move, rook to c1 is a known move, even bishop to e1 is a known move. Fedoseev defeated Chaparino with this bishop to e1 maneuver, but in the game we have knight to e2, and knight to e2 by Aronian is a new move, so already as a move 11 we have a completely new game, and you can see how an aggressive move this is, because now you want to go after this knight, you want to eliminate it so the queen can enter the game. Basically you want to get this knight to g3, then to h5, challenge this knight, and then the queen will be able to take these squares that the black knight is currently covering. So here we have knight to c6, Levon continues developing, we have knight captures, b captures, and now d captures and b captures. And now with this set of trades, Aronian gets this bishop to c3 move in, and now his bishop pair from hell is fully operational. We have queen to b6, Levon develops the queen, connects the rooks, and now, again, what do you do here? It's not a very active move with the queen, but he has to develop somehow. Knight to g6, Aronian just continues with his plan, and now g6. Levon cannot allow this knight to h5 move, he has to play this, but now he has weakened the f6 square, and white will use this to his advantage. And here comes a move that I really like. It is maybe not my favorite move of the game, but it is, maybe it's my favorite move of the game. Here Aronian plays b4. And it's not just because it's the b4 move, it has nothing to do with that, it's just because it completely ruins black's pawn structure, and it wins the d4 square for white's dark square bishop, and then you will not be able to challenge this dark square bishop for the rest of the game. So here c captures on b4, it's a pawn sacrifice, but you know, now bishop to d4, and now this bishop is a monster, and you will never be able to challenge it by either pushing c4 or d4 here. So here queen back to d8, and now rook to c1, developing the piece with tempo, so this bishop has to move. Bishop to b7, and now comes queen to f3. With tempo, as the knight is now being pressured. Okay, the queen defends it, so not really with tempo, but you are putting a lot of pressure on this knight here. So queen to d6, again developing the queen and again connecting rooks, and now white put all his pieces perfectly, and now it's time to push the h pawn. So h4, you want to play h5, bust open the position, and you know, try to utilize this bishop pair to its fullest. We have rook f to c8, and now h5, of course. We have a5, Levon says, alright, you're definitely not checkmating me on the king side, I'm just going to play a5, then maybe a4, b3, I'm going to create a pass pawn on the queen side, and I'm going to win the game this way. So these are the two objectives that the players are going for. And here comes the move I really enjoy. Also, maybe not as much as b4, but you know, maybe just as much. Bishop to f5, and this is just a beautiful idea. Point is that the bishop cannot be captured, but you are forcing black to decide what to do with this rook, and basically you are winning the c file with this. Because if the bishop is captured, then it's just knight captures on f5 with a double attack here, and now we can remove one of the defenders of the knight, so we're gonna win our piece back. It's not even a piece sacrifice after the queen moves, just captures with check. Queen captures, and now we can capture here, and it's of course completely winning for white. It's not what black wants to do. So instead, after bishop to f5, Levon says, all right, my rook is under attack. I'm going to capture this rook. We have rook captures on c1, and now knight to e8, getting this knight out of harm's way and shifting it over to g7 to attack the bishop here on f5. We have queen to g4. Now the g pawn is pinned, and now comes knight to g7. And now we reach the position that... I want you guys to solve. It's a really, really cool position, and there is only one move that wins the game for white. So feel free to pause the video here and win the game for Arjun while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this incredible idea, as it was not played in the game. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop captures on g7. Such a quaint move to find, but it's a brilliant one. In the game, first a captures on g6 occurred, but I will show you why capturing on g7 first is stronger. Because after bishop captures, king captures, and now bishop captures on g6, this is now deadly. Because you are threatening all sorts of nasty discoveries, and if the bishop is captured by either pawn, then knight f5 check wins the queen, as the g pawn is again pinned. So capturing on g7 is crushing. But in the game, bishop captures on g6 came first, and now it's a little bit different. Now Levon captures here. We have bishop captures on g7, but now Levon will not capture this bishop, but will rather play rook to c8. And now Levon's plan is that he wants to give back some material. For example, he wants rook captures on c8 with check, bishop captures, queen captures, and now king captures on g7, and we have this endgame with completely equal material. This is what Levon is going for. However, after rook to c1, Arjun decided, nope, I'm playing rook to d1 first, and I'm keeping all of my threats on the board. King captures is still impossible, so what do you play here? Here, Levon has to find rook to c4. This is the crucial move that allows him to stay in the game, but he postponed it for one move. He first played rook to c2, but now he allows this bishop to retreat very safely with bishop to a1, and now you can easily open up the position here with white. So now he did play rook to c4, but now it's a move late. We have queen to e2, and now the problem is there are also very nasty threats of maybe even queen captures on here. If the bishop ever moves from the defense of the queen, then we can pick up the queen. So queen to c6. Now Levon wants to push this pawn and open up this diagonal, and now comes another very nice move, bishop to d4, just blockading the d5 pawn and not allowing it to be pushed forward. We have bishop to f6, trying to get rid of this bishop, but now h captures on g6. We have h captures on g6, and now king to h2, another beautiful move, simply preventing rook to c1, because here, as long as the king is on the back rank, you can do such ideas, because the capture will come with check. But here it's impossible, because if you trade, then the bishop is unguarded. There is no check here. So instead, after king to h2, we have bishop captures on d4. Now comes e captures on d4. Again, keeping this pawn on d5, completely making this light square bishop useless that Levon has on b7. So here, rook to c2 now, attacking the queen, and now queen to f3. So, okay, the position calmed itself a little bit, and Levon even gained quite a nice position, but it's very, very difficult to play. Queen to e6, and now comes queen to f4. So what do you play here? We have king to g7, but now rook to d3. Now the rook will also join the attack, and then you really have to be careful. So queen to f6 here, Levon offers a queen trade, but queen to g4 now. So the threat is, of course, knight to h5 check, which would win the black queen. The g pawn is again pinned, and here you have to go back. Queen d6 to remain, for the position to not be ruined. The knight is now pinned; it cannot move, and the white doesn't have any active moves. White can slowly continue mounting the pressure, but then black will slowly bring the bishop into the game via bishop to c8 and so on. However, here Levon played queen captures on f2, and it does make sense. You win a pawn, you're threatening checkmate, but now it's completely lost for Levon. Here Aronian played knight to h5 with check, and now it doesn't matter what you play. If you go to the f file, then rook f3 just wins the black queen, and if you go to the h file, which happened in the game, then knight to f4, defending against checkmate now with the knight and the queen, also threatening checkmate here as the queen and the knight attack the g6 square. So rook to c6, defending, and now rook to h3 with check. King g7, now comes queen to d7 with check, king to f6, and now rook to f3. And now you really don't have any moves that you can play here. Whatever you play, you're just going to run into a very nasty discovery, and with the best possible defense, it's mate in 18 moves. But Levon just played queen captures on d4, and here after knight to e2 check, it was in this position on move 43 that Levon resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. The queen is under attack, and once the king moves, you're just going to gobble up the queen, and now you're getting checkmated. There's nothing you can do here. So really an incredible game by Aronian Erigaisi, defeating Levon Aronian in their second game of the match like that. But Levon was able to bounce back in the third game, and I believe the fourth game ended in a draw. I will, however, check before I give you the final results. Yeah, Levon bounced back in the third game, and then the fourth game ended in a draw. But so the match is a tie and will be decided tomorrow. So this I consider a huge accomplishment for young Aronian, and well, it's a really incredible achievement beating Levon like that. So yeah, basically at his own game. So yeah. That's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank David Kimura, Nigel Holloway, happy birthday Gavin, Leander Moderson, and happy birthday CCP for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this very nice event, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.